Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another YouTube video, currently the only series running on my channel. Before we go ahead and get into the video, guys, if you have any other video ideas for me to go ahead and film, I've kind of been out of video ideas, hence the lack of YouTube videos recently. However, anyhow, we are going to go ahead and get into my 2025 Wrestlepalooza predictions. First match we have on the card is the tag team match between the Brawns, aka the Vision, versus Jimmy and Jay, the Usos. And it kind of feels like we just got this matchup back at SummerSlam, except with Roman Reigns instead of Jimmy Uso. So I don't think this match can get much better than what we have already seen. However, I feel like it is going to be interesting since this is, I believe, the first time the Usos have tagged together since their tag team match with Solo and Roman back at Money in the Bank 23. So it has been a hot minute since they have teamed together, especially on a PLE match such as this one. But getting into the actual predictions for it, it's hard to bet against the Usos, but I feel like Braun and Bronson could possibly do it. I'm not sure when we're planning on getting Roman Reigns back whatsoever. Roman Reigns might be back, heck, this PLE, it's Wrestlepalooza, it's huge. However, though, it is hard to bet against the Usos also. They're just back. This is their first match back. The Vision, just as of recording, just won a match against Fraxium a few hours ago on SmackDown. So, they're doing fine. They're doing good. So, actually, for this matchup, I am going to go ahead and predict that your boys, the Usos, knock off the Brawns. I don't think the Brawns really need this right now. They can go on to dominate in the Raw Tag Team division. We maybe future down the line, the Usos lose the match. But right now, I'm going to say the Usos win this match. It's their first match back. Jay's a big star. I think we're going somewhere with that. We're going somewhere with LA Knight, and eventually it's going to all lead to War Games, which we'll get into later. But yeah, for this match, I'm going to go ahead and say the Usos over the Brawns. The next matchup on the card, guys, is for the vacant WWE Women's World Champion, and it is for Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer. Almost forgot her name for a second. I apologize there. Guys, the figure's not in front of me. So I almost wanted to say Lyra Valkyria, but no. It is Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer. And this matchup has really just been a long stretch. It should have happened at Clash in Paris. I don't see why it didn't happen at Clash in Paris. However, here we are. We're finally getting it. And it is going to probably be the best women's matchup. I guess it's the only women's matchup of the night. But it's going to be a great matchup between these two. I'm very excited for Io. I'm very excited for Stephanie. But we're going into the matchup here for my predictions. As much as it hurts me to say it, even though we don't have a figure here, we're still going to have to knock Io over. We love Io Sky around here. Big Io Sky support channel here. But anyhow, though, I am going to predict Stephanie Vaquer wins the title. We just got a long reign from Io. She won it before Mania. She dropped it at Evolution. So, it's been a good run for Io. She really didn't have that good of a reign. I think it's time we give it to someone else. We give it to Stephanie Vaquer. She goes ahead, wins it, holds it for a good bit, has her thing with Rhea, has her thing with Asuka, does something with Nikki Bella, does whatever she has to do. But as for the women's title match, I'm going to go ahead and predict Stephanie Vaquer, keeping it simple, nothing else like that. We're just going to go ahead and say our final pick is Stephanie. And now that we have the first two matches out of the way, it is now time to get into the huge matches. And the three matches that really any of the three could be the main event. I believe what they said on the contract signing for SmackDown was that it was going to be Drew versus Cody for the main event. But these upcoming three matches could all really be the main event. It sucks for one of them because one of them is going to open, one of them is going to close, and one of them is probably going to get stuck in the middle. And if we're being honest, this matchup right here, for as big as it is probably going to be the match stuck in the middle. I'm talking about the mixed tag team match between the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins, the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Becky freaking Lynch, versus CM Punk, and I can't believe it. I don't have her figure here, but I can't believe I'm saying this, AJ Lee. Now, this matchup, I am super excited for. It's AJ Lee's first match back in like 10 years. It is going to be an absolute great matchup. I'll go and get my predictions in a second. I just want to say it is sweet to have AJ Lee back. Can't wait to get her figure, to go ahead and put it right here next to CM Punk. However, though, for the predictions matchup, I am going to go ahead and go with Punk and AJ Lee. And also on top of it, I'm going to go ahead and go a bit deeper. I'm going to knock these two down first. But as for this, Punk could kind of sit by himself here because I don't have an AJ Lee figure. But I'm going to go and even go a bit deeper. I'm going to have Punk go ahead and, I think the Usos are going to take out the Brawns later in the night, either later in the night or during the match again. We're going to get Punk. He's going to take out Rollins, and AJ Lee is going to tap out Becky Lynch with the Black Widow in the middle of the ring. Come back to this video, comment saying I was right, because that is what I'm going with right here, right now. And it's going to be CM Punk and AJ Lee to knock off the Vision, Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch. They'll go their separate ways after that. And if we're being honest, I really think AJ Lee is going to go on to beat Becky Lynch for that Women's Intercontinental Championship. I could see it as soon as Crown Jewel. I guess it isn't in Saudi this year, but anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and say CM Punk and AJ Lee get the dub there. And yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, and speaking of matches that, you never think would ever happen again, we're getting to this one. It is Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. Now, you want to talk about AJ Lee not having a singular match in 10 years. This will be Lesnar's first match in like 2 years and 2 months. The last time he had a matchup was also the same night that he left the WWE in SummerSlam of 2023. And now he is back. Of course, I'm talking about the Beast, Brock Lesnar, and John Cena. And the one thing I find interesting about this feud is, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the exception of the interference with Sami Zayn, and of course the SummerSlam part, this feud has now technically been going on for like a month and a half, and they have only had a singular interaction, and neither guy has said words to each other. Like, Cena came out on Springfield this past Raw and just kind of yabbered on about how, oh yeah, I played football here. And then Lesnar just came out and attacked Corey Graves this past SmackDown. So really been a weird build, especially because, this is Cena's retirement tour. But I mean, I guess, you got to work with the dates. It has been confirmed Cena will be retiring Saturday night's main event on, I believe, the 13th of December. I could be wrong. However, though, for this matchup, Cena's got to do whatever. He's got to get his dates going back. But for Cena and Lesnar, I think this would be a huge mistake if Cena doesn't win this matchup. Cena got demolished by Lesnar at SummerSlam 14. I understand Cena beat Lesnar when he came back at Extreme Rules, but still, I believe Cena needs to do this. If you count their PLE matches, I'm pretty sure I heard that they are 2-2 apiece. So Cena, just like he beat Randy to end that trilogy at 6-5, I think this time around Cena is going to end the trilogy. I don't think he's going to tap Lesnar out to the STF like a lot of people are saying. I think he's just going to hit him with attitude adjustment after attitude adjustment after attitude adjustment. I don't know what Lesnar's going to do after he loses to John Cena. Heck, he might beat John Cena. I'm going to go with Cena. I'm going to knock Lesnar over there. But what he does afterwards, I have no clue. They kind of teased something maybe with Paul Heyman on SmackDown just a few minutes ago. But anyhow, I'm predicting John Cena knocks off the Beast. And yeah, where Cena goes from there, maybe Dominic. I'm not quite sure. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But right now, I am going with John Cena. And now for the most anticlimactic main event of all time. Drew McIntyre once again challenges Cody Rhodes for or I guess not once again, but once again challenges for a world title. This time, however, it is Cody Rhodes. Now, this matchup, like I said, I'm pretty sure they said that's how they would be closing it. And I understand, it's their first show on ESPN. They want to have their guy. They want to have their number one guy, Cody Rhodes, with their number one title against Drew McIntyre. I get it. They did the same thing when they went to NBC. They went to Saturday Night's main event. They did Cody versus Kevin. They just want Cody. He's their big star. He's their big name. They want him on the main event of everything. They're putting him in the TikToks, I can't speak, advertising how to get on ESPN and everything. So I get it. They want him at the top. But there is so many better matches that I really think could be happening. But you know what? Whatever. This is what we're stuck with right now. WWE just likes making that money. But it is the main event, and it is Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. And I was a huge Cody Rhodes supporter, especially when he finished his story. I was putting stuff up on my community page at the time. I was doing universe mode videos about it. I was doing special guest referees. I believe I even finished it in my GM. However, I'm getting a bit sidetracked. Cody Rhodes, though, this second run has not been doing it for me. That's probably because he's only been on TV like 2 of the 8 weeks that he's already been champion for. This will be his first championship defense. And it really sucks because I do not think Cody Rhodes is going to lose in his first title defense. As much as I would love to have Drew McIntyre win the world title, I'm going to have to knock Drew down. I don't see McIntyre walking out with the world title. If he does, claps all around. We'll be all happy here. But I do not think it's going to happen. I think Cody Rhodes is going to retain. He's going to beat McIntyre. And another thing that I think will happen, I saw something on Instagram. I completely forgot about it, actually. The Crown Jewel Championship. I believe Crown Jewel is the next PLE. I believe it is October 11th, I believe. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on that. But anyhow, it will be Cody Rhodes versus the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins, for that Crown Jewel title. And to be honest, I think that's exactly where they go from here. And I'm going to predict right now, this is technically a Crown Jewel prediction, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it in here just because, once again, we're down to a 5-match show, and I want this video to be a little longer than 10 minutes for you guys. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and predict Rollins beats Rhodes, wins that Crown Jewel title. Obviously, neither title is on the line in those matches. However, I'm going to say Rollins wins that. It goes back to whatever random case it's in Saudi and does whatever, collects dust. But after that, I'm going to say Cody Rhodes joins Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and the Usos. Maybe just Jay and throw in LA Knight. I'm not quite sure exactly how they're going to do that. Maybe LA Knight joins the Vision. I have no clue, but I'm going to say that's how we get to a War Games match. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and be my prediction for the Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre segment. It kind of sucks, though, that Drew McIntyre is only down for a few minutes. However, anyhow, though, yeah, that was my prediction. I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes. And yeah, guys, this has been my 2025 Wrestlepalooza predictions. We don't have many figures here to do an end recap, but just to do an end recap real quick, Stephanie Vaquer, right here, is going to win that WWE Women's Championship. John Cena is going to beat Brock Lesnar. CM Punk and AJ Lee is going to beat Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins by AJ Lee submitting Becky Lynch. We're going to have Cody Rhodes beating Drew McIntyre, and we're going to have the Usos beating B&B Security / the Bronze / the Vision. And yeah, guys, that is going to be my 2025 Wrestlepalooza predictions. Go ahead, leave your predictions in the comments down below. Thank you, guys. Like, subscribe, comment, do whatever, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.